14-6 overall record last year before being bumped out of the playoffs for a second consecutive year by Sheboygan North in Oshkosh. Plays host to the Fox Valley Association's Fond du Lac Cardinals, who went 20-5 last year, earning a trip to state for a second straight season, but falling just one game shy of the championship game. They meet to begin their third straight season against one another, and it comes your way next on Channel 14 as we begin our third year of bringing CHS basketball into your television sets. And a very pleasant good evening. Welcome back to another year of Bullock basketball. He's Jim Miller. I'm Matt Menzel. This year, Jim, the Bulldogs expect to have another very competitive squad out on the court. Size definitely will be a factor.
Hey, Matt, good to be with you for our third year here on TV 14, and I look for big things. I'm real excited about this year's Bulldog squad. Quite a bit of size up front. Bulldogs should be able to dominate on most nights. I think tonight we're going to get a good test out of a very well-coached Fond du Lac Ball Club.
Fond du Lac is a very small team. Their tallest player stands at 6'4". David Lemon, the tallest player for the Bulldogs, he stands at 6'8". David Lemon is one of the key players back from last year.
That's right, Matt. This is Dave's fourth year as far as varsity experience is concerned. I look for David Lemon to have a monster year for Cedarburg. I had a chance to chat with him, about 10 days ago, and patted him on the back, and I can tell you David's put some weight on. I think he spent some time in the off-season in the weight room. Looks bigger and stronger than ever. Look for big numbers out of David Lemon in the hole this year for Cedarburg.
Lemon will be one of many Bulldog players trying to replace Chad Dodens and Joe Paddock. Earlier tonight, I spoke with fourth-year Bulldog head coach Ben Siebert about tonight's matchup. All right, Coach Siebert, obviously being opening night, what are you looking for out of your team?
Well, I'm just looking for us to play really hard. We know Fond du Lac's going to bring a lot of intensity. I'm sure both coaches are expecting some sloppy plays, some mistakes being the first night, but if we play hard, we'll be right in this game.
You and I have talked about it in the past. Now that opening night is finally upon us, what are some team strengths and weaknesses coming into this game?
Well, our strength definitely continues to be our inside play. We're blessed with a lot of height and strength to go along with that. So we're gonna really force teams to deal with our inside game first, and then we'll show them our outside game.
How will you guys attempt to repeat the kind of success you had a year ago?
Well, we're gonna take it one game at a time. The kids that are returning to the varsity, know how that felt and the kind of effort it took. So we know it won't be easy. There's some great teams around here, but we're challenged, and we're gonna step up to the challenge.
Tonight's the first of many very challenging non-conference games, and opening night for a third consecutive year against Fond du Lac. Your scouting report on Fondy.
Well, Fondy's a fantastic program. They've been to the state tournament the last 2 years, semis last year, finals year before. They're kind of our exact opposite. They bring a real strong perimeter game, lots of guards, shooters, penetrators. So it's going to be a good matchup. We're going to have to try to get out and cover their shooters. They're going to have to try to deal with our big guys inside.
When you speak of Fond du Lac, one name that you can't go very far without mentioning is Robbie Springborn. He's back for his third year. How will you guys attempt to stop his sharp shooting?
Well, we're not really expecting to stop him. He's very good. He's very good off the dribble, getting into the paint. We're gonna just challenge him. We're gonna try to stay in front of him. We're gonna try to see if he can then finish at the rim with our big guys around. We're not gonna get caught coming off the wings and giving up those three-point kick-out passes. He's going to get some points. He's a great player. He's a Division I prospect. So we're just going to try to handle him as much as we can.
And finally, what are your three keys to a Bulldog opening night victory?
Well, I think first of all is we just got to come out with a great effort. Fond du Lac will definitely, on defense especially, come out and really get after us. So we just have to be patient, be very fundamental. Use our ball fakes, use our shot fakes, rebound strong. And then I think we just need to have the confidence to stretch to. I really expect that this game will go late into the game with it very close, and then hopefully our leadership and our seniors and our big guys are going to be able to take over and win this.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot for your time, and we will talk to you again on Tuesday from Tosa East.
All right, thanks, Matt.
And tonight's opponent, Fond du Lac. This is a small team, as we talked about just moments ago. Their tallest player stands at 6'4". Being a small team, they're also a very fast team.
Well, that's right, Matt. Look for Fond du Lac to do a lot of different things. They're going to be overmatched as far as size is concerned. So watch for Fond du Lac to spread the ball around the perimeter. They're a very good jump shooting team. Probably one of their all-time strengths is they try and make the opponent play their style of ball. They're a perimeter scoring team, play very well defensively, and try and dictate the tempo.
One of their star players at that guard position is Robbie Springborn. This is his third year on the Fond du Lac varsity roster. Next year, he will be playing at UW Green Bay.
That's right. Robbie's a fine ball player. We've had a chance to see him the past couple of years, both on the non-conference schedule and in the sectional at Oshkosh. I think he last year was fourth team All-State selection. So you know this kid's got the whole package. Watch for him as far as his outside game. Somebody from Cedarburg is going to have to contest him and try and limit his touches.
Earlier tonight, I spoke with the veteran Fond du Lac head coach Dick Diener about this game. And by the way, if Coach Diener can pick up a win tonight, it would be his 400th career victory here coming against the Bulldogs. That's what he is trying to do. Here's what he had to say about this matchup. All right, Coach Diener, your thoughts on the way last season turned out?
Well, we were very pleased with the way things turned out for us. You know, we made it to the Final Four in the state tournament and lost to the eventual state champion with Milwaukee King, and we just had a great year. We, I think, won 20 games and lost 5 on the season. But our kids came very, very close to reaching their potential, and you know, we got beat by an excellent ball club down in the semifinal.
One thing you mentioned is the fact you guys went to state. It was a second consecutive year that Fond du Lac has been able to do that. How have you guys been able to do it? Because going into both of those seasons, you guys lost a lot of talent thanks to graduation.
Well, we've got kids that are pretty fundamentally sound, and they play hard, they play together, and they play smart basketball. I work really hard on the defensive end, and I've always believed that you win, you know, championships, and your season is going to be a solid one if you can convince kids to sell out every single night on defense and just be solid and make it very, very difficult for teams to score on you and not allow them to get second shots. So majority of our time is spent on the defensive end of the floor and boxing out, and you know, last 2 years we've been really small, and it's been paramount that we work on those areas.
You guys have a very experienced backcourt. One of those guys that is returning for a third year, Robbie Springborn. Talk about him as a player.
Robbie's a very quick kid, one of the quicker guards in the state. He has the ability to get to spots on the floor pretty much wherever he wants to go, and he's continued to improve his decision making. He's a good pull-up jump shooter. He can hit the three-point shot, so he's pretty complete at this point. He continues to improve in all areas.
Tonight's opponent for a third consecutive year on opening night is the Cedarburg Bulldogs. Your scouting report on CHS.
Very solid ball club, a lot of size, and that contrasts with us. Our tallest kid is going to be 6'4", and after the 6'4" kid, Jordan Zabel, we go down to 6'2" and under. So I'm very, very concerned with their quality big guys. They've got a number of kids in that 6'6" to 6'8" range that are going to pose some problems to us, and I've got a lot of respect for Ben and the job he's done, and the kids that he's got playing for him on the perimeter have experience as well. So I think it's a great opening round game.
What are 3 keys to victory that you guys need to perfect on to win this game?
Well, our interior defense, our entire defense, but particularly our interior defense, we cannot allow Cedarburg to do a lot of damage inside. Second thing, rebounding the basketball, particularly on the defensive end of the floor, would be the big 2 things. We've got to be able to use our quickness. I think if that's one area that we might have an advantage, would be in the quickness category, and we've got to exploit that with some very nice spacing on offense.
Going along with your 3 keys to victory, what are you looking for here on opening night? Because obviously the season will not be decided, and obviously it's just one game, and these guys are getting used to playing a regular season basketball game again. So what are you looking for in this particular contest?
Well, this game, you know, the teams have only been together since the 17th of November, so here we are about 9 days, 8-9 days later, so it's very, very young in the season. A lot of kids still are not anywhere near where they're going to be in terms of basketball shape, particularly the kids that played football. We've got some kids that are nicked up from the football season. We're just looking to see where we are and assess where we are at this point in the year. And, after this game, we can look at it and study it and then try to shore up the areas that we're going to need to for our next opponent, Nina, which is our opening conference game next Tuesday. So we don't have much time, but we're looking at this as a learning experience. And of course, we want to win the ball game. We always like to go out there and win games, but this is a tune-up and something that we want to learn from.
And finally, in a personal level, if you win today, it would be your 400th career victory. Your thoughts on that accomplishment?
Well, that means that I've been around a long time, probably, but I've also been very blessed at the places that I've been that kids have really worked hard and bought in and developed into some fine players, and I've been fortunate to reap the benefits of their hard work.
Coach, thanks a lot for your time. The second year we've done this, and we thank you again for your time. Best of luck tonight and throughout the season.
Yeah, well, nice visiting with you, and good luck to you this year. It's nice visiting with you.
Nothing beats opening night in boys high school varsity basketball. And let's take a look at tonight's starting lineups, beginning with visiting Fond du Lac, who went 6-1 in non-conference play last year. Up front, it's number 4, a 6'2" senior, Matt Saporski. And number 3, a 6-foot senior, Chris Saberlick. In the middle, it's number 32, a 6'4" senior, Jordan Zabel. In the backcourt, number 12, a 6-foot senior, John Shavy. And number 13, who we talked about on the on-camera open, Robbie Springborn, a 5'10" senior. Head coach Fond du Lac is Dick Diener in his 20th year at the helm. 399 wins, 106 losses in his career. 339 wins, 100 losses at Fond du Lac. The starting five for CHS, it's a tall lineup. Up front, it's number 22, a 6'3" senior, Mike Drifka, and number 40, a 6'6" senior, Andrew Koenitz. In the middle, it's number 44, a 6'8" senior, David Lemon. And in the backcourt, number 20, Dan Morgan, a 6'2" junior, and number 30, Aaron Albrecht, a 6'2" senior. The Bulldogs are coached by Ben Siebert in his 4th year, 39 wins and 28 losses. He was the co-conference coach of the year with Nicolas Paul Hepp last year. Jim, what are your 3 keys to a Bulldog victory?
Well, there's no doubt about it, Matt. Cedarburg with a definite size advantage. I'm sure we're going to touch on that a number of times tonight. But they're going to have to dominate on the glass on both ends of the court, clear the boards offensively and defensively. They should have a definite advantage there and try and stop Fond du Lac's perimeter shooting.
This is just the 3rd ever meeting between these two schools and the first taking place here at CHS. The series history is even up at 1 apiece. Their first meeting came on November 20th, 2001 to open up Fond du Lac's Fieldhouse. CHS won that game 49-42. The second meeting came on November 29th, 2002 at Fond du Lac. Fondy won that game 48-41 in a game that was originally scheduled for the Fieldhouse here, but the construction was not yet done. First basket of the season by David Lemon.
David Lemon with a putback had a relatively simple layup there that he missed, but cognizant of the fact, regained the rebound and put it back for a deuce. Early 2-0 lead for Cedarburg. I think we're going to see a lot of that tonight. David should dominate this game inside.
Quick foul on Dan Morgan. That is his first personal foul, first team foul. Officials today as assigned by the WIAA, Chuck Hardrick and Wesley Porter. Fond du Lac, a perimeter team, as we talked about, a quick team. This is Robbie Springborn, one of the players you want to keep an eye on. A very talented player, 4th team All-State choice by the Associated Press a year ago. Dan Morgan and David Lemon coming up, taking that ball away from Matt Saporski, and Dan Morgan getting it to Mike Drifka, who led the team in rebounding a season ago.
Steal down there in the corner by Fond du Lac. You saw Fond du Lac try and work the ball inside. Lemon rejected that little flip half layup. Another turnover on this end. Cedarburg at the controls.
Matt Saporski could not hang on, and a Fondy turnover. 1 minute gone by, 7 to play in the very first quarter from the CHS Fieldhouse. 2-0. Bulldogs are on top behind a bucket by David Lemon, who is listed at 6'8", but in reality, probably about 6'6". He's a player that you got to believe Coach Siebert just trying to get the opposition thinking when they see that number stick out.
Well, that's right. He's probably 6'6", 6'7". Like I mentioned in the pregame, though, Matt, I think he's put on some weight. He's gotten much stronger than he's been in the past 2 years, and I think that's going to benefit him down in the paint.
Dan Morgan has it slapped away after John Shavy picked up his first personal foul and the first Fondy team foul. And there's a rejection by Aaron Albrecht. He's one of the smaller guys out there, but a player that Coach Siebert is looking to step up.
Oh, yeah, and I think he's going to be the X factor this year. He's a kid that he's not great in one particular area, but he's good in a lot of different areas, and just a big-time hustle player.
Nice scoop shot by Matt Saporsky, ties this game up at 2. Aaron Albrecht, a player that Coach Siebert says as Dan Morgan fires and cannot hit Lemon. The offensive rebound put back, good. And David Lemon has all 4 of CHS's points. But Coach Siebert said about Aaron Albrecht, his talents in basketball may not be the same as others, but he definitely passes a lot of people with how hard he works in each game.
Right, he is definitely a high-energy player. As we saw down there on the other end, Fond du Lac's going to have trouble and have their hands full with David Lemon inside tonight.
Basket missed by Zabel. He is the tallest man on the roster, standing at 6'4", and obviously that does not even compare when you take a look at the front line for this Bulldog squad. Mike Drifka up top. Koenitz lobs it inside to David Lemon. That is something you're going to see over and over again throughout the season.
Yeah, there's just no way to stop his size in there. Fond du Lac, man, they got basically 5 guys out there that are all very similar in size, but Coach Diener gets the most out of his kids, always finds a way to win. And he's been to state the past 2 years with a team in that sectional, not the best team, but the team that's come out of that sectional.
CHS on top 6-2. 5 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the first quarter. Lemon has all 6 of the Bulldog points. Guy that was a second-team all-conference selection last year after averaging 11 points per game and 7 rebounds per game. Robbie Springborn lost his footing and he traveled as he went down.
I think the referee bailed him out there. He could have called an offensive foul on Robbie. Instead, he got the charging violation. Turnover to Cedarburg. And that's one thing tonight, too, Matt. We got to watch. There's a charge on Morgan, pushing off with his offhand. We got to try and limit the turnovers. This first game, you're going to probably see more turnovers than what you normally will, because there's, kids got the jitters, and that's one thing Cedarburg's going to want to try and work on is limit the turnovers.
With Dan Morgan in early foul trouble, picking up his second personal foul and the second team foul. Brian Taylor quickly coming off the bench. He is a 5'11" senior who saw very limited action last year in blowout situations.
Well, that's an area that Coach Siebert, I know, is concerned about, and that's his backcourt. They're young and inexperienced, but there is some talent there, and this is a good opportunity, especially in the non-conference games, to give these young kids some minutes to see what they can do.
Saberlich with the kiss off the glass. Chris Saberlich, a player that was a second-team all-conference selection last year, averaging 11 points per game and 2 rebounds per game as a starter. Albrecht cannot hit Fond du Lac with the opportunity to tie or take the lead. They're down by 2. Nice pass. Andrew Koenitz with the rejection. Too much body as Jordan Zabel went up for the shots.
Andrew Koenitz in along with Brian Taylor. Andrew Koenitz, here's another kid with 3 years varsity experience. Lots of talent. Good shooter from the outside. Rebounds well. This kid's got a big upside. I look for big things out of Andrew this year.
Zabel at the free throw line. Cannot hit on the first. Foul on Andrew Koenitz, so that's his first and the third team foul. So far, CHS is 3 for 6 from the field. Fond du Lac 2 for 5. And both free throws no good. Nice rebound by Mike Drift, who, as we said, led the team in rebounding and was an all-conference honorable mention last year. Koenitz no good. Tipping. Albrecht gets it to David Lemon and back up top to Brian Taylor.
Good to see that. Good to see one of Coach Siebert's guard hitting a perimeter jump shot. Takes a little pressure off of David Lemon inside.
Brian Taylor had 9 points altogether last year. three does not fall for Schumacher, number 5. He just subbed into the game for Fond du Lac. Bulldogs are on top 8-4. 3:38 to play in the first quarter. Lob inside to Lemon. One man goes down. He banks it off the glass down the well. David Lemon has 8 of the team's 10.
Just a man among boys thus far. Just a big sequoia tree in there, Matt.
David Lemon, one of those guys that you will see the Bulldogs lob it into 9 times out of 10. We saw that quite a bit last year, especially in games against teams like a Whitefish Bay or Port Washington, a smaller team. Aaron Albrecht cannot finish. Brian Taylor to Mike Drifka, bounce pass. Albrecht passing. Koenitz shooting. Boom shakalaka!
The old boom shakalaka is going to force Coach Diener to take a timeout. 3 minutes left in the first period. It's Cedarburg 13, Fond du Lac 4.
I gotta believe Dick Diener did not see this one coming this early in the game. We have just played about 5 minutes on the dot. Already 13 points from CHS, and David Lemon with 8.
Well, we touched on it earlier. You know, Cedarburg's going to be strong inside. Now the last couple of possessions, Brian Taylor's hit a jump shot, and Andrew Koenitz threw in a 3-ball. And I'm sure Coach Diener didn't know that was coming, but that's a nice sign for Coach Siebert. If we can get some scoring from both the inside and outside, look out, opponents of the Cedarburg Bulldogs. This team has got a big upside. I'm real excited about this team this year. And Coach Siebert has scheduled a very strong non-conference schedule and a good start here tonight.
We knew size would be a factor. Listen to this stat, 7-2. CHS has out-rebounded Fond du Lac. Basket good for Saberlick.
You know, Fond du Lac's going to stick around. They're too well coached. He's going to find a way to get the most out of his kids. They're real scrappy, very well disciplined. And Cedarburg with another hoop inside. Brian Taylor. Coach Siebert's having a few words with the referee, staying in his coaching box. New coaching box this year. Coach Siebert's getting the feel of things over here.
Nice pass, by the way, by Albrecht, who set that play up. That basket good for Chad Pierce. 15-8 CHS on top by 7. 2:15 to play in the first quarter. Albrecht to David Lemon. Great ball movement as Brian Taylor finds Koenitz. Albrecht looking inside. Lemon posting up on Sable. Turns around. All of a sudden, he has 10.
Yeah. What Fond du Lac's going to have to do is they can't guard David Lemon with one man. They're going to have to bring over some weak side help and try and pick up some offensive fouls on David, or he's going to have a field day in there.
As we said last year, he averaged 11 points per game already with 10. A 3 that dropped for Chris Saberlick, and he's the man with the hot hand for the Cardinals right now. He has 7 points.
That would be a baby boom shakalaka because of Fond du Lac, because of the opponent.
17-11. CHS on top by 6. 1:20 to play in the first quarter, and a Bulldog turnover, which gets this Fond du Lac crowd excited.
17-11 here with about a minute and a half, and thus far, Coach Siebert's got to be pleased with what he's seen thus far. And here's a real nice substitution by Coach Siebert, getting Lemon and Albrecht out of there with a minute and a half to go. He can pick up an additional couple of minutes during the timeout. Everybody should be fresh to go for the second period.
Look who they brought in, another big man, Jake Asplin, who stands at 6'7". Also out there, the man that is sporting Joe Paddock's old number, John Lucas, who was a very good player in his limited action last year. Slicing, dicing, passing, missing is Schumacher. Nice play by Koenitz. Also in on the play was Jake Asplin. Taylor going one-on-one against Springborn. Koenitz for 3. Boom, shakalaka!
Back-to-back 3 balls by Andrew Koenitz, who I mentioned earlier. All this kid needs is some confidence. He's got the game, just needs a confidence, and 2 back-to-back 3s. He should be feeling pretty good about himself.
Foul on Mike Drifka. That is his first personal foul, and the 4th team foul. This CHS team letting the lights out inside this field house here in the early going. 20 points, they lead by 9. 10 points for David Lemon, 6 for Koenitz, 4 points for Brian Taylor. Leading the way for Fond du Lac, Saberlick was 7, followed by Saporsky and Pierce, each with 2.
Well, nothing like a little home cooking, Matt. I think the home floor certainly helps, but Fond du Lac answers with a 3 ball.
That's his second consecutive three-point pop. He has 10 points to lead the way for Fondy. 10 of their 14. 6-point lead for CHS. Jake Asplin looking for Lucas. Mike Drifka, defense by Saberlick. 15 seconds to play in a quick first quarter, and Mike Drifka split right through the defense.
Yeah, real nice. Switched hands there, went left side. Coach Diener keeps looking for a 5-second violation, but no go.
Drifka steals, shoots, cannot hit, but what a first quarter for this Bullock team. After 8 minutes of play, they lead non-conference Fond du Lac 22-14. This is the 86th Bulldogs boys varsity basketball season, which began back in 1916. You might be saying to yourself, and I know Jim Miller is, that 2003 minus 1916 equals 87.
That's what I was thinking.
That's true, but what you might not know is that Cedarburg did not have a basketball team in 1923 due to a lack of interest that year. So this is the 86th Bullock basketball season.
Well, I missed some of those early games, but been around probably since the early 1960s. Taken in a lot of Bulldog basketball. And this team here, I'm real excited about this squad this year, Matt. Got a lot of experience coming back, a lot of size, and Coach Siebert's got to be just really pleased with overall a very well-played first period.
David Lemon picks up his first personal foul and the 15th foul. Obviously, you don't want to look past the regular season. Still 19 games to go after this one, and this one isn't even decided. But playoff bracket gets a little tougher this year as well. A new bracket for the Bulldogs.
Right. I had a chance to talk to Coach Siebert about that, and he wasn't overly concerned. He said he'll go down to Vincent and take them apart one by one.
Foul is on John Shavy. That's his second personal foul. And just the second team foul. 7.5 to play here in the second quarter. First half from the CHS Fieldhouse. Glad you could join us. It's opening night of boys high school varsity basketball, the same way the previous two seasons have started off. CHS against Fond du Lac.
On the road for those, however.
First time that has happened ever between these two schools, meaning, as we said, for just the third time ever, John Lucas cannot hit the three, and it goes out of bounds. Lucas, one of those guys that is known to hit three-pointers. He was 3 for 6 from downtown a year ago.
Well, he had a good look there, open look, left wing. Just threw it up a little hard, hit the bracket, and went back over the backboard. But nice shot, and if he keeps putting that up there, he's going to drain one.
In that first quarter, by the way, CHS finished with 7 rebounds compared to Fond du Lac's 2. Basket for Schumacher.
Or some of that rebounding, too, is a result of Cedarburg's real good shooting, and David Lemon continues to stay hot. Coach Siebert's got him back in here now to start the second period, got that rest in. He's got, 10, 12 points, Matt?
12 points. Basket no good out of the hands of Saberlick. Albrecht comes away with the basketball. Steal by Springborn. Nice play. Springborn cannot finish. Great defense by Albrecht. He throws it out to Jake Asplin. 6:20 to play in the second quarter. 24-16 CHS. Taylor cannot hit. Rebound brought down by number 4, Matt Saporski.
Yeah, my monitor is broke here tonight, Matt, along with my telestrator. So you're gonna have to keep me up on as far as the stats are concerned. But Cedarburg's doing a nice job offensively getting that ball into David Lemon.
Springborn passing off to Schumacher. And a 3-second violation against Fond du Lac. That is a turnover as Dan Morgan and Mike Drifka sub back into the Bulldog lineup, replacing Asplin and Taylor.
Brian Taylor did a real nice job in there for 2, 3, 4 minutes. The time he got, did not turn the ball over, hit a couple of shots. Coach Siebert's got to be pleased with that.
And as talked about in that first quarter, last year he finished with 9 points altogether. He has 4 in just this game.
Well, sure. He just didn't get much of an opportunity last year. But he had a senior-laden backcourt. Those guys are gone now, and Coach Siebert has got to develop 2 or 3 guards here that he can count on for the rest of the way. And what a nice opening game against Fond du Lac, a real strong opponent out of the Fox Valley, as well as a nice non-conference game against Tosa East coming up.
Taylor played 11 periods last season for this Bullock squad, coming off the bench, as we said, mainly in blowout situations with that senior-dominated lineup. Springborn driving the lane, trying to save it from going out of bounds was Shavy. He cannot do so, and the Bulldogs will take over.
Yeah, Cedarburg just kind of collapsed there. They are playing a man-to-man, but had two guys fall off, and that Fond du Lac player had nowhere to go.
Coach Siebert told me last week that Fond du Lac will bring 4 or 5 guards at us, so it'll be a challenge for both teams to deal with the other's strength. To this point, the only challenge has been for Fond du Lac trying to deal with the Bulldogs' team strength, which is size.
Right, and there we just had a turnover by Morgan. I think his second one of the ball game.
3 that goes in and out for Saporski. Albrecht cannot hang on.
Had two guys, Albrecht and Drifka, going in there for that rebound, but neither one of them were able to control.
4:45 to play in the second quarter. 24-16. CHS on top by 8. They led by 8 after 1 quarter of play at 22-14. There's that ball movement around the perimeter. Ball goes back to Schumacher, who has 2 points. Saporski was open for the moment, but then Drifka stepped up on defense. Back it goes to Shavy.
Saporski, you'll notice, is trying to come out a little bit higher. Right now you see where they got David Lemon. That's right where they'd like him, is way out on top to try and take away his size inside as far as shot blocking.
Tough angle there for Springborn. He drew the foul.
He got too far under. Andrew Koenitz ready to check back in for Cedarburg.
Johnny Lukish picking up his second personal foul. 6th team foul. It is a bonus situation. A 1-and-1 upcoming, although he was in the act of shooting. Springborn headed to the line.
Right, I see the team foul situation right now is definitely in Fond du Lac's favor. They're going to be shooting a bonus the rest of the way, while Fond du Lac has only got 2 team fouls. So Fond du Lac's got an edge in that department. However, Cedarburg, certainly their field goal percentage, according to my numbers, is certainly much better than what Fond du Lac's at.
Koenitz subs in for the foul trouble Lukish. Koenitz with 6 points in this game. Lukish has yet to score. He's 0 for 1 from the field. Springborn's 2 free throw makes. First 2 free throw makes for Fond du Lac. 24-18. David Lemon makes it 26-18. CHS on top, under 4 to play till halftime. Lemon now with 14.
14 in the first half. Monster game for David.
Great defense by Morgan, who goes down. Koenitz trying to come up with the steal. He's tripped up by Shavy as Springborn has to go across the midcourt line to chase after that loose basketball.
Cedarburg continues to stay in the man-to-man. Fond du Lac being very, very patient.
Great ball movement. Saberlick fires a long-distance bomb. Rebound brought down by Dan Morgan, who was actually one of the smaller guys out there for CHS, coming down with a big rebound. Dan Morgan thought about it. Now he moves inside and fires the long deuce.
He'll shoot that all day and drain it. Nice little crossover to his left. Extension, and good.
Morgan, who averaged 2 points per game last year, has 2 points in this game. 28-18, CHS by 10. 2:55 to play in the second quarter. And until halftime, when Jim Miller and I will take a look at the conference report, not to mention the first half in stats. Schumacher.
Right now, the Bulldogs remain in that man-to-man, but David is just kind of hanging around in the paint, right around the rim area, trying to get any loose change that might come off. Turnover.
And a traveling violation apparently is the call against Shavy, as Shavy and Koenitz got tangled up.
It appears as if it's gonna be Fond du Lac ball, Matt, I think.
Coach Siebert not happy at all. He wanted a foul, and they do in fact call traveling against Koenitz. There's a strange call.
Well, Coach Siebert actually kind of behaving himself thus far.
Now it's CHS basketball.
See his family in the crowd, so he's got to behave himself a little bit.
To go, he got a technical foul on a regular basis, and last year not so. He was tamed a little bit.
Yep.
Albrecht Inside to Lemon, he now has 16.
They just don't have an answer for that. I'm surprised Fond du Lac has not gone to more of double teaming on Lemon.
2 minutes, 5 seconds to play in the first quarter. Bulldogs are on top by 12 at 30-18. 8-4. CHS has outscored Fondy here in the second. Basket good for Cedarburg. He now has 12 to lead Fond du Lac. 12 of their 20.
Yeah, he's looking good tonight. And like I mentioned earlier, though, Matt, you notice how Fondy just keeps kind of hanging around. There's a turnover. They did very well as far as turnovers in the first period, but Cedarburg is, according to my notes here, has 4 or 5 turnovers here in the second.
Koenitz are on the block. Shavy cannot hit. Drifka comes away with the basketball. And this is a Fond du Lac team who is missing Sean Partelt, a 6-foot senior. He is a 3-year varsity player who is not back because of injury. David Lemon now with 18.
18 points. Of course, Cedarburg is dealing with an injury of their own in Rory Lindner. And when the Bulldog fans get a chance to see him this year, look out. This kid's a player.
Linder was telling us before the game he is targeting January 6th as a comeback date. That is a game against Milwaukee Lutheran, who became a rival last year after a triple overtime battle and a game that was decided at the buzzer here last January.
It'll take him probably a little while to get his legs back, but I expect come mid-January, late January, he's going to be a very, very valuable asset to the Bulldog squad.
Foul is charged against Jordan Zabel, number 32. That is his first and the third team foul. 55.5 seconds to play till halftime. Again, coming up at halftime, the conference report, plus we will take a look at the first half in stats. Stats definitely favoring CHS.
Oh, thus far, you bet they are. And I got a chance maybe to mention to you about Brett Favre being an alien.
Not even going to touch that. David Lemon looked like alien-like moves, getting that basket to fall. He has 20 points. He has as many points as Fond du Lac has as a team.
Very, very nice first half for Dave.
34-20, CHS on top by 14. Under 20 seconds to play here in the second quarter. Chris Saberlick, he has 12 points leading the way for Fond du Lac. Shavy is waiting. Fond du Lac, last shot opportunity. 5 seconds to play. Shavy is driving. He's shooting. He's getting fouled as the basketball comes our direction. It appears the foul is going to be on Mike Drifka, which is his second personal foul, and the 17th foul. Again, a bonus situation in the act of shooting was Shavy. He's going to shoot 2.
Yeah, and Coach Siebert's upset with that foul. 2.4 seconds left in the quarter. Fortunately, it's only his first one. Cedarburg will throw it down now and try and get off a halfway decent shot here before the first half expires.
We were talking about Linder and how much of a factor he's going to be once he gets back from injury. He led the conference in rebounding last year. Talk about a 1-2 combo with Drifka. Albrecht at the buzzer. Cannot get it to drop, and after 16 minutes of play, the Cedarburg Bulldogs lead the Fond du Lac Cardinals on a Wednesday night of high school varsity boys basketball, 34-22. All right, we begin tonight's halftime report by taking a look at the conference report. And last year, the season and standings finished like this. Cedarburg and Nicolay finished tied for first at 12-2. Milwaukee Lutheran at third at 11-3. Germantown in fourth at 8-6. Whitefish Bay in fifth at 6-8. Homestead in sixth at 4-10. Port Washington in seventh place at 2-12. Grafton in eighth place at 1-13. This year, the prediction for the final conference standings sees Nicolay in first, CHS in second, Milwaukee Lutheran in third, Germantown fourth, Whitefish Bay fifth, Homestead and Port Washington, the first two conference teams CHS will see before Christmas break, in sixth and seventh place respectively, and Grafton in eighth. Your thoughts on the prediction of the conference?
Well, I think that's pretty accurate, although Cedarburg, I think Cedarburg's going to give Nicolay all they want. I look for Cedarburg and Nicolay to battle it out much like a year ago. And Milwaukee Lutheran, probably the X factor as far as they're going to beat somebody and get in the mix as well. You got Nicolay coming, having everybody back other than their starting point guard. What the heck is his name? Branson or Bronson or what? Remember that little guy? What was
Tanner Bronson.
Tanner Bronson. Okay, see, that's close. Otherwise, they got their entire starting lineup back. And Cedarburg, of course, losing about 30 points out of Chad Dodens and Joe Paddock. That's a major concern for Coach Siebert this year to plug the holes left by those two seniors. Thus far tonight, you certainly wouldn't know it, but David Lemon has had an outstanding first half. Conference-wise, I look for Cedarburg and or Nicolay, just as your almanac mentions there, with the Milwaukee Lutheran a strong third. I think Whitefish Bay is going to surprise some people. They got a guard by the name of Steve Gruber, who's a really nice ball player. And Grafton has got a couple of kids coming back. I read about them in the paper today. Nice guard by the name of Chris Ernestine coming back. Port Washington, very well coached team with Coach Pitts. He doesn't have a lot of talent up there, but Coach Pitts is going to get the most out of his kids that he can. Of course, Homestead is going to really feel the loss of Rory Lindner. Coach Securis is, in my mind, still one of the best coaches in the conference. So I see the Germantown coach here tonight, Steve Showalter, scouting for the Warhawks.
Coach Siebert said on that second place prediction, that's about where we expected. Nicolay has the most returning or the most overall talent, so they're the logical choice for first. And one thing that Lee Young, the veteran head coach of West Bend East, told me a couple years back, and common sense, they have to predict somebody to take first, and in this case, it's the Nicolay Knights. Now, you mentioned Whitefish Bay as a possible team that will upset many, and I thought the same thing coming into the season. I still do. You mentioned Stephen Gruber, the son of the famous lawyer, and then they got some of the other talented players, such as a Vahantre Brown or Bach Dow. The problem with Bach Dow, though, we've heard through the grapevines, and Coach Siebert was telling me that he may actually be a lot older than what we were led to believe. He's a foreign exchange student, so he may not even be playing this year, and he may not have even supposed to have been playing last year.
Maybe he's pulling one of those Little League tricks on Whitefish Bay, but I expect Whitefish Bay to be one of those spoilers along with Milwaukee Lutheran. You know, Germantown is always going to be somewhere in the mix, probably a 500 ball club. But I think the talent that Cedarburg and Nicolay has will certainly move to the forefront, and it should be a two-horse heat going into the conference finals.
Vahantre Brown, a player that averaged 13 points per game last year. Stephen Gruber, as a freshman, he averaged 14 points per game, and then if they lose Bach Dow, that's 10 points per game and 3 rebounds per game down the tube. Grafton is a team that they just have young talent every year. Eventually, they all become seniors, and it seems like the whole team graduates together.
All right, and Grafton's, for the past 5-10 years, been fighting a numbers problem. I mean, they're just one of the smaller schools in the conference, and for a number of years, they just didn't do well, so their confidence level hasn't been where it should be. I know Coach Klein is excited about the group of kids he's got coming back this year. And he doesn't have a lot of size, but I think the Grafton team in general is going to have a lot of heart. Coach Kleina does a real nice job with his kids, but I just don't think they got the horses to compete with some of the bigger teams in the conference.
I don't know about you, but I'm happy that Tanner Bronson is back. Every time it seemed like the Bulldogs would take on Nicolay, Bronson was a three-point weapon. Every time he would light the Bulldogs up. Last year he averaged 9 points per game and 2 rebounds per game.
Well, we've seen him now the past 3 years, and yes, fortunately we won't have to see him again. And every time we saw him, we wondered where's the talent coming from, but he was kind of a a dagger in the Bulldogs' throat the past 3 years. So no, we're not gonna miss Tanner Bronson, but Nicolet's got a lot of talent returning. Coach Paul Hepp never has the cupboard bare down there. Had a chance to visit with him briefly the other night down at the U.S. Cellular Arena. He was down watching one of his old proteges, Joa Tucker, playing for the UWM Panthers and doing a real nice job down there for UWM, former North Shore Conference Player of the Year. But getting back to where we were, I think no question about it, Matt, it's going to be Nicolet and Cedarburg, and last year the same thing happened, and we went down to Nicolet, and unfortunately the Bulldogs got their lunch handed to them, but we did get back at Nicolet and got a victory here at home. And I think the home court is definitely going to play a role again this season.
Focusing now on this game, 34-22 the score at halftime. In the first quarter, CHS led 22-14, and then in that second quarter, they scored 12 points compared to Fond du Lac's 8. Taking a look at individual scoring, leading the way for CHS is David Lemon with 20, 6 points for Andrew Koenitz, 4 points for Brian Taylor, 2 points for Dan Morgan and Mike Drifka. For Fond du Lac, Chris Saberlick with 12. And then 5 guys, each with 2 points after that. Matt Saporski, Ross Schumacher, John Shavy, Robbie Springborn, and Chad Pierce. Give CHS credit, they've really shut down Springborn. He has just 2 points.
Right, Springborn has not been a factor, which kind of surprises me. I'm sure at halftime, Coach Diener certainly is trying to come up with some defensive adjustments to try and stop or slow down the big guy inside, David Lemon for Cedarburg, who has got 20 points, just 2 shy of Fond du Lac's overall total. A very, very nice first half for Dave Lemon. Contrary, I think Coach Siebert has got to be pleased with the overall defensive effort that Cedarburg had in the first half. They limited their turnovers in the first quarter. I thought they did a real nice job with their turnovers. They did turn it over more in the second period. Got everybody some rest. Nobody's in foul trouble. Controlled the boards. That was one of my keys to the game. Overall, a very good first half, dominated by Big David Lemon in the first half.
Taking a look at some team stats now. CHS shot a red-hot 62% from the field. Fond du Lac just 30%. And then rebounding 14-3. CHS out-rebounded Fond du Lac. That's been tonight's halftime report. The second half is next here on Channel 14. All right, this Friday, ladies basketball back on the Channel 14 airwaves. There you see Lindsey Katz in your screen. The Lindsey Catless Bulldogs in action on Friday against Brookfield East after they lost 38-24 last Friday against Cedar Grove. So they will look to get things started in the Thanksgiving Turkey Brookfield East shootout. Here we begin what Fond du Lac is hoping to be a shootout here in the second half. How's that for a transition?
Well, yeah, I see Cedarburg, the girls kind of struggled the other night. I'm sure Coach Ross wants to try and change things around in that regard.
Andrew Koenitz. Yes.
He's playing with so much more confidence tonight than I saw the entire season last year.
He had to have been one of the more disappointing players last year, and I don't mean to be mean to Koenitz. He averaged 3 points per game, 2 rebounds per game, but the year before, as a sophomore, he was one of the brightest surprises for this Bulldog squad.
Yeah, I had a chance to see him more as a sophomore, and man, I was expecting big things out of him last year, but like you say, kind of disappointed the Bulldogs a little bit. It's not because of the desire. I know the desire is there. I think last year was more of a mental thing than anything else, and he looks real good tonight, and I expect big things out of Andrew this season.
Koenitz picking up his second personal foul, the first team foul. Shavy, who hit 2 free throws right before the end of the first half, unable to hit the first of 2 free throws on this trip to the line. The second one is no good. Offensive rebound Going up in the air and getting fouled is Jordan Zabel. By the way, tonight's trivia question. I know you've been waiting for it.
Okay, because I've been studying up.
I've
been studying my Bulldog history during the off season. So lay it on me.
What is the Bulldog record for most wins to start off a season before their first loss? We will get to the answer in just a little bit. Give you some time to think.
Can you tell me the year that might have been?
It's a surprise. 1974-75.
Okay. I'm going to put that in the brain box for a minute.
How big is this brain box?
Not very big. It's dwindling year after year. Nice ball movement here by Cedarburg.
After Zabel went 1 for 2 from the free throw line, it's 36-23 in favor of CHS with 6:45 to play in the third. Koenitz, David Lemon has 22.
They gave that to Andrew Koenitz, according to the scores table. Both players were there. Nice offensive rebounding effort by Cedarburg.
All right, let's set the record straight. Lemon still has 20. Koenitz now with 10.
If you get my telestrator fixed, I could have showed you how that worked. I know Doc Rivers got a telestrator. He signed up with ABC.
And Doc Rivers also got fired from the Orlando Magic, so.
Oh, yeah. Turnover down on that end by Fond du Lac.
6:15 to play in the third. 38-23 in favor of CHS by 15. And still just a great game by this Bulldog team. They have outscored Fond du Lac 4-1 here in the opening minute and 45 seconds of the second half.
It's an area where Coach Siebert, I know, has to have a little bit of concern, and that's with bringing the ball up. Koenitz, nice pass in there. Koenitz finishes.
First half belonged to David Lemon. The second half is turning into the Andrew Koenitz show. That's a three. That's an air ball for Schumacher. The putback not there. Saporski trying to kick it out to Springborn. Now he uses his head to move Drivka out of the way. Drivka is called for the foul, and he's upset.
And so is Coach Siebert.
So am I.
Well, can't get them all right, Matt, but it did possibly look like an offensive foul down there. It appeared as if Drivka did have position, but Drivka was called with the foul. Fond du Lac will shoot 2.
Saporski headed to the free throw line after he used his head to move Mike Drivka out of the way.
Third foul there, too, for Drivka, and that makes it even a little bit more painful. So we've got to take him out, give him a rest. And he's replaced in there by, was that Lukash?
Your brain box
Coming back?
must not be that small, because you read my mind. I was just about to say that's Drivka's third and the third team foul. And yes, it is Lukash back out there.
A couple of young Bulldog fans standing down here in front of us tonight, taking in the action. Down
Future
the road,
Bulldogs?
Down the road, those are your future Bulldogs right there.
Saporski now at 4 points, 40-25 in favor of CHS by 15. Nice pass by Albrecht, scored on the foul.
Nice dish off by Aaron Albrecht. David Lemon with the finish, goes to the line to try and cap off the traditional three-point play.
I never missed that line.
Cedarburg with a 42-25 commanding lead here in the third quarter. Coach Diener just looks befuddled down there. And he's got no answer for Dave Lemon.
Saberlick picking up his first personal foul, second team foul. Here in this third quarter, CHS is 4 for 5 from the field. Great start. Fond du Lac 0 for 6.
It's 80% the way I figure it.
They're actually going to charge the foul to Robbie Springborn. That is his first and the third team foul. David Lemon looking for point number 23 as Chad Pierce, who has 2 points, replaces John Shavy, who leaves with 2 points.
And David Lemon here going for point 23, misses.
Lemon last year, he struggled from the free throw line at 53%, 35 for 66.
Doesn't have a bad touch, though, for a big man. I think a lot of it is a concentration. David's getting to the line in his first priority. I think he's getting up there and he's trying to get some rest. and sometimes does not have the focus he should when he's shooting that free throw.
42-25 in favor of CHS with 5:12 to play in the third. Aaron Albrecht trying to get around Pierce with that big body, and all Lemon finds Koenitz for the baseline jump shot.
Oh, yes, he just looks so smooth tonight. Whole different ball player. Him and David Lemon are just tearing him up.
Here's how you can tell Koenitz is a much better player than he was 2 years ago. He had a similar jump shot against Grafton that could have won the game. He hit that one almost in the exact same spot.
He short-armed a lot of stuff last year, and tonight just looks real smooth, real fluid out there.
Chad Pierce now at 4, 44-27. Bulldogs by 17 with 4:30 to play in the third. Off the fingertips of David Lemon, and that one is headed for the exit sign.
It's a good call there. David got just a little bit too far underneath and could not control the pass.
Under 4.5 minutes to play in this third quarter. Fond du Lac got off to a slow start. They have not been able to recover ever since.
Yeah, they're looking real sluggish here in the third period. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Diener takes a timeout real soon, because this thing is starting to slip away.
Robbie Springborn, who averaged 14 points per game last year, it's just denied by David Lemon.
Whoa.
Get that out of my house.
Get that out of the paint.
What I was going to say, though, is Springborn has just 2 points. Obviously, it's hurting this team. Boom, shakalaka, his third 3 of the game.
Oh, does he look sweet tonight.
17 for young Andrew Koenitz.
Yeah, there's that timeout I was talking about. And Coach Diener has seen enough. Just when he thinks maybe he can stop Lemon, somebody else goes off. And that's somebody else, Andrew Koenitz.
47-27. Bulldogs by 20, their biggest lead of the game. And in this third quarter, CHS 6 for 7 from the field. Fond du Lac 1 for 8. Now let's get to that trivia question and answer. You've been waiting.
Yep.
What is the Bullock record for most wins to start off a season before their first loss?
Well,
and we told you it was in 1974-75. What do you think's the answer?
I got my PDA, the timeout here. I got my PDA out. Got online quick. Got on Bulldogs.com. The answer I got for you is 8.
Did you cheat?
No.
Oh my goodness, that PDA of yours worked to perfection. 8 is the answer. It happened in 1974-75. The Bulldogs started the season 8-0 before their first loss, which came on January 18th at Sussex Hamilton. CHS won 10 of their first 11 games that year and finished 13-5, which was only good for third place, a tie with Brookfield East. Sussex Hamilton, by the way, finished first that year at 16-2. Aaron Albrecht cannot finish. Out of bounds. It's going Fond du Lac's way.
Foul on Albrecht there, over the back, trying to get that loose ball. Good hustle foul. Coach Siebert's just got to be real pleased with the way his kids are playing thus far tonight. David Lemon's on the bench. Drifka's on the bench. He's got 3 starters on the Pines right now, and this group out here, certainly a high energy, high effort fivesome.
That is Albrecht's first and the 4th team foul, but that was a very good 74-75 team, I might add. That was coached by John Schell, and that just shows you.
Former
really
Badger star. Did you know that, Matt?
I did not know that.
John Schell is a former star at the University of Wisconsin. Played his high school ball, I believe it was at Cumberland.
Basket there falls for number 34, Corey Burkhart, who comes off the bench. One of those smaller guys that will not see much action this year, but will play in situations like this as Brian Taylor hits the shot. He now has 6.
Whoa, when it rains, it pours. I mean, everybody Coach Siebert's throwing in there is hitting the jump shot. And he's got to be just real pleased with the team's overall production offensively.
49-29, CHS by 20, an air ball 3 by Saporski. Albrecht, the outlet to Jake Asplin. He slows things down, nearly traveling with the basketball. Koenitz.
Real smart, though.
Nice pass to Albrecht. He cannot finish. And that's something we saw at the beginning of last year where he just could not finish right next to the hoop.
Yeah, and that was just a little bunny that he missed there. But he's going to make more of those than he misses. And if you pick a game to miss, this is a good one to miss it in. But he makes up for it right there.
On the assist by Taylor.
Coach Siebert is taking a 30-second timeout.
For Albrecht, that's his first points of the game. And a surprising stat to me is last year, he averaged just 2 points per game. It seemed like he was more productive than that.
Well, yeah, because he did so many other little things, diving for loose balls, getting a key rebound when needed. He's just a high energy. He's kind of like like I mentioned earlier, he's going to be the X factor on the team this year, I think. When it comes down to crunch time, Aaron Albrecht is going to be there, and he's going to get the loose ball that you need. He's going to draw the charge. He's going to get the key rebound. Just does. He's a blue collar type player. Does all the dirty work and does it well.
Koenitz with 11 points alone here in the third. He has 17 in the game.
It's from our crackpot statistician over here.
Paul Velboom crunching the numbers, making us look good because
He
you know
is.
without him.
And don't forget, you got to tip him tonight too.
You chipping in 15%.
I got our new sponsor this year. I didn't get a chance to talk to you. Hyundai. Got a chance to talk with Sir Charles and Kenny the Jet Smith from TNT. And our new sponsor this year at the end of the game will be our Hyundai player of the game.
Paul's telling me 15% of 0 isn't much.
It's not much. I got to get my PDA out and I'll let you know.
Foul was on Jake Aspel. That's his first and the 15th foul as Saberlick hits a couple of free throws. He has 14. 51-31, CHS by 20. 1.5 minutes to play in the third. Great effort by this Bullock team as Mike Drifka gets the ball from way downtown.
We haven't mentioned James Taraboy in for the Bulldogs.
Shavy steal by Brian Taylor. Nice weave to Drifka, who's spinning, shooting, and he's hitting short, and the blocking foul.
Nice shake and bake. Turn around. Jump shot off the glass by Mike Drifka. Goes to the line to try and finish off the three-point play.
Drifka now has 4 points. Last year, a 55% free throw shooter at 32 for 58. Free throw no good. Offensive rebound by James Taraboy, who was getting a wedgie from Springborn.
I didn't see that. It was blocked out by the official.
Actually, the wedgie was given by John Shavy. Nonetheless, that's a 3 no good for Schumacher. And out of bounds. By the way, the foul was on Corey Burkhart. That is his first and the third Fond du Lac team foul.
Cedarburg's just doing everything right here in the third period, and it's given Coach Siebert a chance to get in a lot of his reserves, give his frontliners a little rest, knowing that the next game down the road against Tulsa East, going to have his hands full.
That's going to be a tough game, and we will hear Coach Siebert's thoughts on that particular matchup during our fifth quarter postgame show. And history is not in CHS's favor. Robbie Springborn now with 4 points as he comes out onto the floor. 53-33, CHS on top with 35 seconds to play in the third. CHS slowing things down. Coach Siebert yelling, last shot, last shot.
30 seconds remaining here in the third period, rather.
Brian Taylor with Springborn on. Taraboy up top. The big man of the Bulldogs killing Fondy at this point. You have 22 points for Lemon and 17 for Koenitz.
Steal.
Saberlick hits. He has 16. Nice pass to Jake Asplin. At the buzzer and the foul. Foul is on Jordan Zabel. That is his second. Fourth team foul. Jake the Snake Asplin is headed to the free throw line. CHS by 20.
Jake the Snake. That guy's huge. Was he like an anaconda or what? Look at how big he is.
All what you want.
How tall is they got him listed?
6'7". Cannot hit the free throw. But CHS is on cruise control after 3. 55-35 from the Fieldhouse. Hey, Jim, here's an interesting stat as he gets ready for the fourth quarter, dancing to the music, blasting Oli but goalie over the loudspeaker. But get this, listen to this stat.
What's that?
14-10 Bulldogs have more turnovers than Fond du Lac.
Really? And I think most of those, though, occurred in the second and third period. They took care of the ball real well in the first quarter. And naturally, you're going to get a few more turnovers now with some of the reserves in. And you're not really playing with the same 5 guys, so you're going to see more turnovers in that regard.
Like that oldie stuff, you got that dial in on your radio?
I got that oldies, yeah. That was Bodyguard by Paul Simon. A little before your time, man.
You're one of those guys that's downloading oldies music off the internet?
I got that downloading that, and then primarily I'm downloading Bulldog Trivia. As you can tell this year, 1 for 1 right out of the box.
I'm gonna get my lawyer on that, by the way. Gonna have to get some money out of you.
Yeah, that's gonna be routine for me this year. You got me the first year I didn't know, the second year I wasn't prepared, the third time's a charm.
7.5 minutes to play in this game, 55-35 in favor of CHS. Saberlick misses the 3.
Look out.
Look out below. David Lemon has it bounced off his feet. Oh, boy.
He could taste that one. The Cedarburg bench was up. Boys were getting excited. But that big clodhopper got in the way.
7:15 to play in the game. 20-point lead for CHS over Fond du Lac. Springborn. Rebound brought down by Shavy. Bodies just flying every which direction for Fond du Lac. They got to stay on their feet. Albrecht on the steal. Look out below. He's off to the races. Nice slap away by Saberlick.
I think it looked like a pretty good block down here. I think you're going to see Coach Siebert go with his starting 5 here for probably 2-3 minutes. Maybe half the period, and then he's going to clear the bench.
Koenitz are back to Morgan. Taken away.
Yeah.
Nice pick by Zabel, who got it into the hands of Shavy. Now can Fond du Lac hold on to that basketball. Shavy fires a 3, and that's no good. Offensive rebound, though, is there.
Yeah, they're going to start loading up the 3 balls. There's one right there.
Saberlick now with 19.
It's basically the only way they're going to get back in the ball game.
He has half of their points. 19 of their 38. 55-38 the score. CHS on top by 17. Albrecht, yes.
Nice baseline drive by Aaron. Finished strong with a kiss off the glass.
He has 4 points. Springborn slicing and drawing the foul. Let's see who they charge it on because there was 3 Bulldog players in the way.
Looked like Morgan to me.
Not Andrew Koenitzer.
Koenitzer.
That's his 3rd, 16 foul, bonus situation. Springborn going to the line. He has 4 points in this game. Again, that is a big factor that CHS has been able to shut him down.
Yeah, they did shut him down. I'm sure Coach Siebert emphasized that in practice this week. Having seen him the past 2 seasons, twice each year, non-conference and at the sectional.
The interesting thing, though, is what he told us on the pregame report is the fact that they didn't expect to absolutely shut him down because they expected him to have a decent game, a respectable game. They're trying to shut him down in the sense that Fond du Lac would go to the players surrounding him. But, no, I got to believe this Bulldog defensive effort against Springborn is something that even Coach Siebert could not have dreamt up. I mean, it's just been unbelievable.
3 ball.
Morgan goes down. Coach Siebert wants a foul, and he's not going to get it. Springborn. And a foul is going to be charged possibly to David Lemon. That's Brian Taylor, by the way, now back out there for CHS. It's on Dan Morgan.
Dan Morgan.
That's his 3rd. Jinx.
Well, Fond du Lac still trailing here by 19. They're going to have to start loading up the ball from beyond the arc. It's the only way they're going to get back in it, although this helps being able to score while the clock's not running. But they just got totally outmatched inside tonight. And then Andrew Koenitz got it stroking there in the third quarter and really made the difference.
Springborn has 6. Player that averaged 5 points per game as a sophomore, 14 points per game last year as a junior. 5:48 to play in the game, 57-40. CHS by 17. They've led by as many as 20. And a kick ball against Schumacher.
Well, you know, Springborn is a talented player. I mean, he did make All-State last year. I think you said 4th team. Of course, some of that is a result of Fond du Lac's overall team record, but still, you know he's got some talent.
Koenitz this time cannot finish. And Lemon nearly went flying over Chad Pierce. Lemon is going to get charged with the foul. That is his second.
No.
Check that. Now it's going to be a loose ball foul charged against Chad Pierce.
Yep.
And that's what we thought, because and again, we had instant replay the capability. You would have seen David Lemon nearly was flipped over by Chad Pierce, who was kind of bent over.
What you told me last year that you were going to have instant replay this year.
Let's not get into that
What
conversation.
seems to be the problem?
Let's not get into that conversation.
Okay.
5:20 to play in the fourth. 57. Way to go. You know, you get a soft task
Pay
here.
attention.
57-40.
Oh,
Robbie Springborn now with 8.
Yeah, he's warming up now a little bit here in the fourth quarter. 5 minutes to play with a 15-point Bulldog lead.
We still have to get to this Dayton Bullock basketball history tonight.
Next commercial.
Lemon cannot finish. Taylor cannot come up with it. That ball is going out of bounds.
Whoa, almost right here in our lap. I had you covered, Matt. I got you covered, buddy.
I saw you going for under the table.
Bending over to block the ball so it wouldn't hit your microphone. You know, we don't want the voice of the Bulldogs to be injured. I'm just window dressing.
Morgan, no good. Jordan Zabel, that's Zabel up close and personal. He was like right in the camera screen.
Give me this day in Bulldog history.
We'll get to it in a moment as Captain Morgan goes to the free throw line. Dan Morgan, last year a 55% free throw shooter at 10 for 18. Foul was on Saberlick. That is his first. And the 17 foul as Albrecht replaces Lemon. He will get another. All right, this Dayton Bulldog basketball history for November 26th tells us the Bulldogs have a record of 8 wins and 3 losses. They have defeated CHS alumni in 1930 and 1949, Nicolay in 1957, Hartford in 1966, Brookfield Central in 1968, Menominee Falls North in 1969, Port Washington in 1975 and 1985. Can we now say and Fond du Lac in 2003?
I think this one, you can mail it in.
Is it one of those good night Irene?
No, I'm not ready to start singing yet, but you know, the play has deteriorated here a little bit in the fourth quarter. Cedarburg just played a real nice first half. Andrew Koenitz took over in the third quarter, but the fourth quarter so far not so good.
CHS has been outscored here in the fourth, 7-3. By the way, there are 3 losses on this date, all-time in history, coming to the CHS alumni in 1946 and Nicolay in 1980, and the team we will see on Tuesday, Wauwatosa East, in 1986. That's going to be a tough game. You know, history not on CHS's side. All-time against Tosa East, Bulldogs have won 2 times. Tosa East has won 15. Tosa East used to be a conference opponent.
That's correct.
Till about 1993.
And Coach Haas down there.
Oh, God, he's good.
Wait till you see him. He's like a stick of dynamite waiting to explode.
They have a sophomore by the name of Jerry Smith, who averaged 16 points per game last year as a freshman. Then they have Allen Hansen, who averaged 16 points per game. Both back together, that's 32 points per game, and they should be able to even step it up one step further, being more experienced players.
And I know that Hansen kid is being heavily recruited, and I think I know Wisconsin's really making a push for him.
Hansen, a very good basketball player. Some colleges looking at him include Akron, North Dakota State, Marist, and UWM. Drifka to Albrecht. Finds Taylor, bounce past Morgan, and the Bulldogs slowing things down. They have about 4 minutes to play, up by 16. Dan Morgan, great defense by Schumacher. Albrecht, a mental lapse and a hang-on by Saporski. Saporski was hanging on Albrecht, and Coach Siebert still, even with 3:59 to play in this fourth quarter and a 16-point lead, he's getting into this. He wants a foul every time CHS has the ball, and Fond du Lac is close.
Well, Aaron Albrecht will go to the line right now and shoot a 1-and-1. And Coach Siebert is certainly still in the game, which is good. Wants to see Cedarburg try and expand on this lead a little bit. And most importantly, limit the turnovers and play smart and try and work the clock down. Right now, Cedarburg's biggest foe is the clock. They just got to beat the clock, and the ball game's theirs.
Albrecht, who was a 50% free throw shooter last year, was 2 for 2. That's a badly missed 3, and with 3:45 to play, it's 60-42. One thing you might notice, 4 starters still in the game for CHS. Taylor, and again, the Bulldogs slowing things down. Inside, Koenitz, he's slapped by Springborn. That will be his second and the 19th foul.
And Andrew will go to the line, shoot a pair.
Let me ask you something. Fond du Lac, coming into this season, ranked 8th in the preseason Division I state rankings. After this game, do you find that being a overrated ranking?
Well, I'm not familiar with the kid that they're missing, but they are not the 8th ranked team in the state that I see out here tonight. A lot of that is just carryover from last year. But this team, I mean, they're just okay. And they're well coached. I mean, Coach Diener will get a lot out of these kids, but they're all about the same size. They're scrappy, but they're not the 8th best team in the state.
Springborn gets the basket and he is fouled. Trying to complete a 3-point play. 62-44 is the score. With 3:17 to play. As the foul was charged to Morgan. That is his 4th, the 8th team foul. So far, David Lemon has 22 points, 19 for Andrew Koenitz. That's very good. That's 41 of the team's 62.
Right, it's 45 to 41 right now if you look at it that way.
Unbelievable.
I mean, both of those guys had monster games, and got a lot of nice looks inside for David, and Andrew hit some nice perimeter shots, including a couple of 3 balls.
That's off Dan Morgan, number 24. Andrew Johnson now out there for Fondy. You know, Coach Diener told us, and we'll tell you during the 5th quarter postgame show, that this is the 2nd biggest team we are going to play this year besides Oshkosh West, a very talented squad. And, well, Fond du Lac, they really came out ice cold and really never really able to get it going.
No, and they continue to shoot at a low percentage. Of course, now they're going to start loading up and taking shots behind the arc to try and narrow that lead, but they're 17 down now with less than 3 minutes to play. Hand it to them. They're very scrappy. They're well disciplined. They did not make a lot of mistakes, but they didn't shoot well tonight. They're 3 for 11 right now in the fourth quarter from the field. So that's less than 30% according to my PDA that I got going here, Matt.
Andrew Johnson picking up the first personal foul, and the 10th team foul. Dan Morgan to get another. He currently has 3 points and remains with 3 points. Rebound tipped out to Aaron Albrecht. 2:50 to play in the game, 63-45. CHS on top by 18 in a well-played game by the Bulldogs. A little sloppy here in the fourth quarter, but luckily the Bulldogs had a big margin for error.
Yeah, now they're trying to work some time off the clock, and Fond du Lac is forced to foul.
It's on John Shavy, that's his third. Super bonus situation, so Drifka is headed to the free throw line.
Yeah, they'll shoot 2 now, the remainder of the way. That's good experience, good practice here now. These free throws all count, they all mean something, and these kids should get up here now and bury most of these.
Tuesday, as we said, Bulldogs will be at Tosa East, a new non-conference opponent. They're ranked 7th in the preseason Division I state rankings out of the Greater Metro Conference. That will definitely be a test for this Bullock team. Up next for Fond du Lac, they will be taking on the Nina Rockets, a team they have eliminated from the playoffs each of the last 2 seasons. Both games going to overtime, both games you and I were spectators for because they took place right before CHS's contest against Sheboygan North each of the last 2 years. But think about it, the Bulldogs came close 2 years consecutively to playing Fond du Lac in the playoffs. Never happened.
Well, 2 years ago, the Bulldogs beat Fond du Lac in the opener, at their field house, in their home opener. Then we went up and lost to, I think it was Sheboygan North, in that heartbreaker when that Waynard kid hit about a 50-footer for the win. And I really don't think Fond du Lac was the best team in that sectional the past 2 seasons, but
they made it look easy against Sheboygan North in the out. Look at last year's final, 60-40.
I mean, I think Sheboygan North had a better team last year, but they find a way to get it done.
Tosa East, by the way, their first game is November 29th. That's Saturday, a non-conference game at Oak Creek. So Coach Siebert and his staff may take some of the players to Oak Creek and get a little taste of what to expect from Tosa East in what is their home opener on Tuesday.
Yeah, that game will be much different than what you're seeing tonight.
Jake Asplund cannot finish on the reverse. Ross Martin now out there. He shoots, cannot finish. And the rebound brought down by Eric Jordan with 2:10 to play. Ross Martin, one of the younger players who played on the JV team a season ago under Stan the Man Richardson.
It's good to see some of all these reserves getting some minutes tonight because, like I say, you got an 18-point lead here. Now's the time to get these kids a little taste of varsity action.
That was a JV team last year that went 10 and 10. Another Bullock foul. Some of the younger players about to sub in, including Tommy Schweitzer, one of the final players to make the 13-man roster.
Hey, you mentioned that to me, that he was one of the last guys to make the roster. And congratulations to Tommy. Now let's see what he can do out here tonight. Maybe we can get him a hoop before it's all over.
He's number 14. Also in is Peter Newman, number 52. He may not be seeing the minutes that he will in the future, but look at Newman's size. Big fella. He can battle with the best of them, and that's something that the Bulldogs are definitely hoping in the future.
Well, if you recall, Peter's got an older brother by the name of Mark.
And Brian.
Mark's just a big horse. In fact, at one time, Mark was considering a career with the WWF.
That's now the WWE.
Which is now the WWE, but I don't know if that ever took off or not. But the last time I talked to him, he was going to put it at wrestling school in Atlanta. He was a pretty big boy.
Foul was on Andrew Johnson. That's his second. And Terry Boy will get another. And Speaking of WWE, I'm thinking about applying for a job there. I heard they got an announcer spot open.
Is that right? No,
yeah, I'm too young.
You just stick to your Bulldog League pass.
Yeah, I don't think I could stand guys in spandex fighting one another on a weekly basis.
Under 2 minutes to play.
Pass going to Lauren Greshel, number 31. His brother Lee Greshel, a pretty good player in the past for Fond du Lac. We had the privilege of seeing him on that 2001-2002 team when he averaged 8 points per game. So at this point, 66-47, CHS on top by 19, 134 to play in the game, and another foul against Fond du Lac. So the points keep climbing for CHS because of all these whistles.
Well, and it's basically been a 20-point game for most of the second half. Right now it's at 19 with James Teraboy to the line for 2 shots.
He hits the first after going 1 for 2 on his previous trip to the free throw line. Foul was on Andrew Johnson. That's his third. Again, a super bonus situation for both teams. Nothing but the bottom of the net. Teraboy with 3. And before the game, he marked down on my stats sheet the star of the game.
He did.
Yeah. 3 points. Not tonight, anyhow.
There's a steal and a breakaway.
Martin is short. Rebound brought down by Greshel. Greshel bringing it up. Look out from behind. Big Jake behind him. Jake the Snake was a wrestler, you know that, right?
Jake the Snake Roberts.
I didn't know his last name, but glad you did. Out of bounds, CHS basketball with 1:03 to play in the fourth. 68-47, the lead in favor of CHS.
And a long 1 minute to play.
Oh, yeah. You're a wrestling fan?
Back in the day with the Crusher and the Bruiser.
That's way back in the day. Aren't those guys from Milwaukee?
Yep.
I'm a Laverne and Shirley fan, if that matters. Speaking of Milwaukee. That was a good show. Under 50 seconds to play, and Teraboy stops and hits.
Shot.
He hits 5 points. You might remember, as we talked about, last year he played a couple of playoff games. He was brought up for the playoffs on the varsity roster. In 2 games, he got to play. Both games, he had a 3-point play, the traditional 3-point play in which you get a 2-point shot and then you get fouled and get the free throw to fall.
Hey, a nice move there in the lane. Finished it off with a little runner. And Cedarburg up by 23 with 34 seconds to play.
70-47.
Boy, who would have thunk it?
You can say that again.
I did expect Cedarburg to win this game, but I honestly thought the score would be a little bit closer.
Last year, the Bulldogs averaged about 66.4 points per game and allowed about 52.7 points per game. Basket drops on the free throw for Johnson. So Johnson with the points next to his name, and a steal by Chad Parker, number 25. We're truly seeing the depth of this Fond du Lac team. The future, anyhow, which seems to be getting better and better every year. They somehow seem to put things together and go to state. The last 2 years, anyhow, they've been able to do that, despite the fact they've lost so much talent on a year-by-year basis, including the Diener cousins, Travis and Drake, 2 years ago. That's a basket that does not drop for Johnson. Tommy Schweitzer comes up with the basketball. Buzzer sounds. Put this one in the win column for the Cedarburg Bulldogs. For Fond du Lac, it wasn't pretty, but they go to 0-1 as the Bulldogs begin 1-0 by winning the game 70-48, outscoring Fond du Lac 15-13 in a slow beginning of that fourth quarter for the Bulldogs. The fifth quarter post-game show in which Jim and I will wrap it up is next. All right, we begin tonight's fifth quarter post-game show by taking a look at scoring by the quarter. For Fond du Lac, 14 points in the first, 8 in the second, 13 in the third, 13 in the fourth for 48. CHS at 22 first quarter points, 12 in the second, 21 in the third, 15 in the fourth, 70 total points. On an individual basis, got to be your Cadillac or what is it now, Hyundai?
Well, we got the new sponsor this year, Hyundai. Sir Charles and Kenny Smith from TNT set us up. And I was going to kind of divide the players of the game between David Lemon and Andrew Koenitz there, but I can't get both of those big guys in a Hyundai.
Is it pronounced Hyundai or Hyundai?
Well, whatever you'd like for the night. But tonight's player of the game is going to go to Andrew Koenitz, who I felt came out in the third period and just dominated play. Fond du Lac went into the locker room at half and tried to make some adjustments on stopping David Lemon. And in the meantime, they forgot all about Andrew Koenitz, and he was lighting it up from outside and inside, and he's going to get the keys to that Hyundai tonight, and he can drive that up until next week against the Tulsa East Red Raiders.
I stole my Cadillac from last year, by the way. Mr. Magnificent. Remember that?
You got the Cadillac last year that I pulled a lot of strings on that for you. Do you remember that down the road?
Payments.
A lot of down the road when you're a big star. Remember where you got your first Cadillac from.
And you know, we were talking about at halftime, Fond du Lac was only down by 12. They lose this game by 22. David Lemon finished with 22 points. 19 for Koenitz, 6 points for Taylor, Drifka, Albrecht, 5 points for Terrorboy, 3 points for Morgan. As for Fond du Lac, 19 points for Chris Saberlick. He was their star player. Robbie Springborn, who had 2 points for Ages, finishes with 11. 6 points for Pierce, 4 points for Saporski, 2 points for Burkhardt and Schumacher, 1 point for Zabel and Johnson. Up next for the Fond du Lac Cardinals, they will take on the Neenah Rockets. That is the conference opener in the Fox Valley Association. Lost 4 starters, returned just 2 starters. Their strengths include defense, work ethic, and depth. Questions include size and inside presence. Earlier tonight, I spoke with 20th year head coach Dick Diener about that matchup against Neenah. All right, Coach, up next, your first conference game against the Neenah Rockets, a team you've eliminated from the playoffs the last 2 seasons. Your thoughts on that first conference matchup?
Neenah is always a very quality team. They graduate a lot of kids, but their program is such that they simply reload from one year to the next, and they're just very well coached, and you know, it's going to be a tough game for us on the road.
And finally, that is your first conference game. Your thoughts on the rest of the Fox Valley Association this year?
Our league, once again, is going to be very strong. Oshkosh West, perhaps, is the overwhelming favorite. They've got a huge team. You know, probably Cedarburg is the second biggest team that we're going to face all year long, but Oshkosh West starts 4 kids that are 6'5" or over. They have a 6'5" kid, 2 6'7" kids, a 6'8" kid, and a 6'1" point guard. They've all started last year. They returned 85% of their points, their rebounds, and their assists. So on paper, they would be the favorite in our league. And then, you know, we're going to be right there. We're going to contend along with Kimberly, Oshkosh North. You could throw Neenah in the mix. Kaukauna has a very nice team. Appleton East is a lot like we are. So most of the teams, you know, are going to be right there. And it's a league where if you're not ready to play, you're going to go back with an L.
Up next for the Bulldogs, they will play a non-conference game on Tuesday at Wauwatosa East Red Raiders. They're 7th in the preseason Division I state rankings. Out of the Greater Metro Conference, they went 15-8 overall last year, 9-5 in the conference, tied for 3rd with West Alice Hale. They're predicted to take first this year, and the main reason, Alan Hansen, who averaged 16 points per game last year, 386 total points, 48 three-pointers. And sophomore Jerry Smith, who was a freshman last year, averaged 16 points per game, 378 points altogether, and 25 three-pointers. History not on CHS aside, they're 2-15 all-time against Tosa East, but 2003, 2004, a new year, and the Bulldogs will definitely, as we've talked about throughout this telecast, will have their hands full.
Oh yeah, against Tulsa East, that's going to be a whole different ballgame than what we saw tonight. And this Alan Hansen, this kid's the real deal. He's certainly a Division I prospect. So the Bulldogs are going to have to play even better. I mean, Coach Siebert's got to be very, very pleased with his team's effort and performance tonight, especially in the first half. First quarter, man, they didn't do much wrong at all. And then in the third quarter, it was the Andrew Koenitz show. But Tulsa East is going to present more problems for them. They're going to be more athletic than what this Fond du Lac team was tonight. And while Cedarburg will probably still have an advantage inside, I don't think it's going to be nearly as big as an advantage as what they had tonight. That's going to be a whole different ball game, but yet a very, very nice test, a good non-conference test. I think it's real important for Cedarburg to get some of these real strong teams, and Coach Siebert has done that and scheduled these strong teams non-conference-wise that can only help you down the road, especially come tournament time.
Here's what Coach Siebert had to say about that matchup with Tosa East on Tuesday. All right, up next, Tuesday against Tosa East. Your thoughts on that particular non-conference matchup? A new team on the schedule.
Yeah, you know, it's another tough one. Great tradition program. Coach Haas has been there a long time. He contacted us last year in the spring about maybe playing a game, and we definitely jumped right at the chance. They bring two very highly touted players. Their point guard, Al Hansen, signed a Division I school for next year. And then they have what everyone says, the #1 ranked sophomore in the state of Wisconsin, Jerry Smith. So individually, they are really solid. We're hoping that our team play can kind of keep some of that down and keep us in a game that we can win.
And your thoughts on the rest of the non-conference schedule? Something you said in the past is you'd rather lose to a very good non-conference team than beat an average non-conference team.
That's definitely true. I mean, we're fully expecting and hoping to go 6-0 in the non-conference, because that would really make quite a statement. You know, the kids, I've kind of told them if they want to get some early season respect, our first 2 games will give us that 2 wins, and people will really have to deal with us and take notice of us.
All right, our next tape delayed telecast of CHS Bullock basketball action. It's ladies hoops on Friday. The first round of the Brookfield East Turkey shootout. Bullocks will definitely have their handful. They will battle the Brookfield East Spartans after CHS lost 38-24 last Friday to Cedar Grove. Again, up next for the boys team, they will be at Tosa East on Tuesday. Again, have not only freshman basketball, but JV basketball, and then the varsity game Tuesday from Tosa East. Final thoughts, Jim.
Well, real nice opener for Coach Siebert against a quality opponent in Fond du Lac, two-time state tournament qualifier of Fond du Lac, as well as I think 2 years ago the second-place team in the state. So very well coached team. And just an overall nice performance tonight by Cedarburg. Limited their turnovers early. Got a little bit sloppy in the second half, but that's to be expected. But man, they controlled the ball inside, got some perimeter shooting when needed, and didn't make a lot of mistakes. I think Coach Siebert, for the most part, is going to be very pleased. Still has a lot of work to do. It's early. But let's look forward to bigger and better things. It's a good way to kick things off, and Tosa East will be a heck of a challenge next week.
Jim, always a pleasure. Have to do it again sometime.
Okay.
We're getting better, I think.
Well, coming around.
All right, that's tonight's telecast from the CHS Fieldhouse of the 2003-2004 Boys High School Varsity Basketball season opener. Again, the final, Bullocks defeat Fond du Lac 70-48. Special thanks to my partner, Jim Miller, lightening up things on the telecast. Ryan Hammond on camera, statisticians Paul Velboom, and the first-year trainer Trisha Ladrin lending a helping hand when she's not helping the injured players.
Well,
so,
appreciated
yes.
Appreciated being along with you tonight, Matt, and look forward to a few more games down the road. I got quite a busy schedule myself and got a lot of other network commitments, but when we can fill in, we certainly will. I enjoy sitting here, being your sidekick. You're certainly a real pro, and look forward to some more Cedarburg action down the road.
By the way, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Well, thank you very much.
And happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there in TV land. I'm Matt Menzel saying so long, good night from the Fieldhouse. We'll catch you again Friday from Brookfield East, then Tuesday at Tosa East. You've been watching CHS tape-delayed high school varsity basketball action on Channel 14, your ultimate CHS connection. Good night, everybody.